Hermann Göring had been the second most powerful man in the Nazi Party for some time before Adolf Hitler came to power on January 30, 1933, joining the party in 1922, and being wounded during the Beer Hall Putsch in November 1923. During the early years of Hitler's regime, Göring accrued job titles such as President of the Reichstag, Minister-President and Acting Governor of Prussia, and Reich, Minister of Aviation and Commander-in-Chief of the Luftwaffe. On September 1, 1939, at the outbreak of the Second World War, Hitler made a speech stating that Göring would succeed him, if anything should befall me. That status was cemented in a decree in 1940, naming Göring as Reich Marshal of the Greater German Reich, a specially created title that was second only to Hitler's position of Führer. On Sunday, June 29, 1941, Hitler issued a secret decree that formally stated that if he ever lost his freedom of action, by way of incapacity, disappearance or abduction, Göring was to act as his deputy, with full power to act on Hitler's behalf. On Saturday, April 21, 1945, the Soviet Red Army had made it to Berlin. Hitler, Martin Bormann and Joseph Goebbels remained in the Führer bunker, the Nazi leadership's underground complex near the Reich Chancellery, to lead the defense of the capital against the Soviets. Göring left Berlin and moved to the south, reaching his estate at Obersalzberg on April 22. That day, upon learning that an order to counterattack Soviet forces hadn't been obeyed, Hitler went into a long rant against his generals and had publicly admitted, for the first time, that the war was lost. Hitler announced that he intended to remain in Berlin to the end and then to commit suicide. He also stated that Göring was in a better position to negotiate a peace settlement. When the Luftwaffe's chief of staff, Karl Koller, heard about Hitler's statement from Alfred Jodl, operations chief of the Oberkommando der Wehrmacht, or OKW, he immediately flew to the Obersalzberg to give Göring the news. If Göring was going to lead peace negotiations, Koller felt there was no time to waste. Additionally, he wanted to prevent the Allies from intercepting any radio messages. Although Göring had for some time been looking forward to the day he would succeed Hitler, he was taken by surprise at this development. He was concerned about being branded a traitor if he tried to take power, but he also feared being accused of dereliction of duty if he did nothing. He reviewed his copy of the 1941 decree, which not only designated him as Hitler's successor, but also gave him complete authority to act on Hitler's behalf if Hitler ever lost his freedom of action. After conferring with Koller and Hans Lammers, the State Secretary of the Reich Chancellery, Göring concluded that by remaining in Berlin to face death, Hitler had incapacitated himself from governing. They all agreed that under the terms of the decree, if Hitler had indeed lost his freedom of action, it would be on Hermann Göring to take power in Hitler's stead. On Monday, April 23, Göring sent a carefully worded telegram, asking Hitler to confirm that he was indeed to become the leader of Germany in accordance with the 1941 decree. He also added that if Hitler did not reply by 10 p.m. that night, he would assume Hitler had lost his freedom of action and so would assume leadership of the German Reich as Hitler's deputy. Upon the telegram's arrival by radiogram from the Obersalzberg at 56 minutes past midnight on April 23, 1945, Martin Bormann, who controlled access to Hitler, seized upon it as evidence of Göring's intent to launch a coup, claiming that the telegram was not a request for permission to assume power in accordance with the decree but a demand to resign or be overthrown. Hitler, according to Albert Speer, originally didn't show much reaction to the telegram, showing a bleak expression. But, the manipulations of both Joseph Goebbels and Martin Bormann stirred up a more angry response. According to Albert Speer, the telegram initiated a crisis that showed the form of Hitler's nervous breakdown, which triggered the political disintegration of military command and control as the German Reich collapsed. A number of telegrams from Göring to various officers that referred to his invocation of Hitler's secret testament sent Hitler into a rage. Speer noted one telegram where Göring directed Foreign Minister Joachim von Ribbentrop to report to him if neither Göring nor Hitler sent further communication before midnight. On Wednesday, April 25, Hitler issued a telegram to Göring telling him that he had committed high treason, and gave him the option of resigning all of his offices, for reasons of health. In exchange for his life, Göring chose to resign. Anne Bormann ordered the SS troops stationed at Obersalzberg to arrest Göring. On Saturday, April 28, Hitler discovered that Reichsführer SS Heinrich Himmler was also trying to discuss surrender terms with the Allied powers. He ordered Himmler's arrest and ordered Hermann Feiglin, Himmler's representative in the Führer bunker, who had been caught attempting to desert, to be shot. Hitler's last will and testament was written on Sunday, April 29, which was triggered by Hitler receiving Göring's telegram, news of Himmler's attempted negotiations of surrender with the Allies and reports that Red Army troops were within a block or two of the Reich Chancellery. In the document, Hitler dismissed Göring from all of his offices, cancelled his succession rights and expelled him from the Nazi Party entirely. It was dictated by Hitler to his secretary, Traudl Juncker, on the day that he and Eva Braun married. Hitler and Braun committed suicide on Monday, April 30. The new political succession divided power between Goebbels and Grand Admiral Karl Dönitz, Commander-in-Chief of the Kriegsmarine and Chief of the Naval High Command, who would become Reichspräsident of Germany after Goebbels committed suicide with his family, on Tuesday, May 1. Upon its reception in the Führer bunker, the Göring telegram was typed onto a naval intelligence form with a carbon copy and classified secret. After the Soviet capture of Berlin, U.S. officials entered the Führer bunker and took papers and documents, which were later analyzed by historians. In July 1945, Captain Benjamin M. Braden entered the Führer bunker, and discovered an original carbon copy of the telegram, marked with an F, in a group of Hitler's papers. On July 7, 2015, at the Alexander Historical Auction in Stamford, Connecticut, in the United States, an unnamed buyer purchased the telegram for $54,675.